If you're thinking about moving to the Nashville area and Brentwood is on your list of possibles, but you're not quite sure, let me tell you what it's like to live, work, and play here. Before I visited Brentwood, Tennessee in person, I had it all wrong. I had Southern living all wrong. I had Nashville specifically all wrong. In this video, I'm going to share what I've learned over the 15 years that I've lived here. This isn't a pros and cons video or a good and bad video, because honestly, there's so much to love about Brentwood. These are just my opinions and observations, but at the end, I will share the one problem that truly keeps most people away, so let's jump right in. When I first got to Brentwood in 2005, my wife and I at that time were visiting my brother's home up in Kentucky. And she said, hey, we need to go down to Nashville. And I was like, being a songwriter, I've been sending stuff down here forever. I was like, hey, that's a great idea. But I had these ideas in my head, coming from Colorado Springs at the time, what Nashville and Tennessee was like. It seemed, I was certain that it was going to be super Southern, that there was going to be overalls, that there was going to be pitchforks, and there was going to be rednecks and all that kind of stuff. Well, when we got down here, it wasn't at all what I expected. Not at all. The neighborhoods, when we first drove into town, Nashville itself it's an older city. So, and I'm not really a city guy, but I love Nashville. But I don't know that I want to live in the city. That's my whole point. But so we stayed down there. We got to know Nashville a little bit, or visited, went to the clubs and that kind of stuff. But then we started thinking, what else is around here? Because we were thinking, hey, it may be time to move on from where we were in Colorado Springs. We'd been married a while and we'd both lived in Colorado Springs for decades. So maybe it was time to move on. And so we heard about this place because we came into Nashville knowing nothing. I mean, I just knew the addresses on Music Row where I would pitch my songs. That's all I knew. So we drove by those. We heard about this place called Brentwood, Tennessee, just in the course of conversation. And so we thought, well, we're going to go down and visit. Well, I'm going to tell you, when we first drove into Brentwood, I kind of couldn't believe my eyes because, again, I had that expectation of Southern Nashville, hayseed overall. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I'm telling you what I felt that Nashville was going to be like, outside the music business. That's what I thought. Well, we got into Brentwood and the streets were groomed. That's the only way I can put it. The asphalt was pristine. It really was. One of the things I noticed about Brentwood, the town, which there isn't a town per se, but one of the things that I noticed was that there's no billboards. There's none. Now, it took me a long time to figure out what's missing here, but there's no billboards. The streets were clean. There's flowers in the median, nice flowers, well taken care of flowers. And medians were in a lot of the streets where it just dresses up the place. It kind of reminded me, when I first saw it, and I said this to my wife at the time, this reminds me of Southern California a little bit, because Californians, it's a cool place. They take care of it really nice. It's pretty, and that's what Brentwood was. So we got to looking a little more deeply into the Brentwood area, and we started driving around. We came back the next day because we just came down to have dinner that night. So we came down the next day, and we were looking at the neighborhoods. We thought, well, now we're curious, So we go in and we take a look at one neighborhood in particular where we actually ended up moving to. Ultimately, I guess that's a spoiler alert. But we ended up moving to a place called Brent Haven West. It was on the west side, or Brent Haven East, sorry. It's on the east side of I-65 when you're going south. And I don't have any idea how we ended up there. We just were driving around. And the first thing that we noticed was that the lots in Brent Haven were huge. We didn't have a measure at that time. Neither of us at that time were even in real estate. We just knew when we drove into Brent Haven that the lots were like breathing room, elbow room. It just seemed like there was a lot of space that went along with each of the houses. And it turns out, in fact, that was done by design. Eddie Arnold did that decades and decades ago. One of the rules was that every house would have a full acre. Now, it's not the rule anymore, but that's what it was. And so in that subdivision, you had a lot of breathing space, a lot of yard. You could say densely populated, but it's not. It was a great place. Anyway, we had never seen that. Come from Colorado Springs, we didn't have 1 acre lots. That's not the way. Colorado Springs is fairly dense. She and I both lived out in the country, but when we went to town, that's what we were used to. We get into town here, we were seeing some different stuff. The curb appeal for these houses were awesome. Now, we didn't have any idea about prices. We didn't have any clue about what it would take to live here. We just knew it was nice. But the curb appeal, it was unmistakable. You drive by these places and people were taking care of their houses. One of the things that struck us when we got down here was there's some areas with some really nice houses. And I mean mansions, yeah, I suppose, just this side of mansion, but they were nice gated communities, aggregate driveways, just beautiful places, just beautiful. And so we started to fall in love with this Brentwood, Tennessee. And I'm telling you, it is not at all what we thought coming in, because the whole time we're driving around, we're going, what is this? What is this? We kept being surprised. Here's the next thing that we learned about Brentwood. The school system is excellent at that time. Blended family, 2 kids, going to be in grade school at that time. The school system was excellent. Now, we figured that out as we went along, but because this is a very wealthy county. Williamson County is a very wealthy county, and Brentwood is a very wealthy city within Williamson County. The schools, that's what happens, tax base increases, schools get better. That's just kind of the way that works. The people that move here want good schools. So see this, these are some of the best schools in Tennessee. Williamson County is well known for a superior school system. So if you're watching this video, I'm going to say the odds are 50% that it's probably the schools that got you this far. Just want to add this. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you have questions about Nashville, Williamson County, my contact information is going to be below. Easy to get to. I'd love to talk to you, but just reach out, send me a text, give me a call, send me an email, whatever you like. I'd love to talk to you about it. But this is exciting for me to share what we've learned about Brentwood. Now, the next thing we learned about Brentwood was, now this is not in Brentwood per se, but Cool Springs is just off the southern border of Brentwood. It's Franklin and Brentwood sort of share Cool Springs a little bit. It's mostly in Franklin. But the reason I mention it is because Brentwood people, we go to Cool Springs. Cool Springs is got a ton of restaurants, great shopping. It's got the Galleria Mall. Everything you need really is in Cool Springs. Now, I'm going to say this, but I'm going to tell you how to find it. One of the things that we didn't know at the time, but we do now, is that Brentwood, Tennessee, Williamson County in general, is low on crime. It just is. Now, as a licensed professional, what I can tell you is go to niche.com and see for yourself. And I can say it's a low crime rate compared to other parts of the city. I can say that. But whatever's important to you, I'm not trying to tell you one thing or another. Just go to niche.com or online, just go to Nashville or Brentwood and search crime map at the same time. And it's easily found. The information is easily found. Brentwood is affluent. Now, did I say that there's a lot of money in Brentwood? I think I did. Here's one of the things that I noticed when we first got here, and I was like, it took me a minute to to figure this out. But we go over to the grocery store now, and here in Brentwood, the place that was closest to Brent Haven, was Publix. And I'm not pitching an ad for Publix. I mean, I'm not. But that was the closest store. When we first moved here, that's where we would go. Well, one of the things that I noticed, now understand that I'm coming from Colorado Springs, right? And so it's different. This is Brentwood, and I hope I've painted the picture that Brentwood it's a pretty nice place. I'm trying to be polite, But it's not the same as Colorado Springs. So I go to the grocery store, and what do I see? I mean, really nice cars. Really nice cars. I'll never forget the day that I pulled into the grocery store, and there was a Rolls Royce in the parking lot, a big ass Rolls Royce in there. But I mean, you don't see that every day. But there was somebody there that drove a Rolls Royce as their regular car, because I'd see them probably once a week anyway. But there's BMWs and Lamborghinis. Oh, you betcha. I mean, there was just the Audi R8s. I mean, there was nice cars in the parking lot. So if you had a car and you thought it was nice, you could feel pretty good about parking in the Publix. You weren't going to get door dings because these guys ain't dinging your doors, But I remember I came home and I said, have you noticed there's some really nice cars here? It was really nice. Now, here's the next thing about Brentwood. There's plenty of green space because it's got a nice tax base. I'm just telling you the way it is. There's a lot of taxes for things that are nice. And one of them is there's a lot of city parks. There's like 14 of them. I think there's one being added, because they're always growing here. But you've got city parks. They're plentiful. If you like the outdoors, remember, in the summer, it's the South. It gets hot. And if there was anything that I can tell you that it was hard for me to get used to, coming from Colorado Springs, where the humidity 20% was stifling for us out there. Out here, 50% is on the low end. I mean, I rarely see it below 50. It's hot. At any rate, I got off track, but there's parks. Crockett Park is this wonderful park, and there's concerts. During the summer, Brentwood has a summer concert series, and they have all kinds of good players down here from the symphony and things like that. But there's just tons of parks. There's the Deerwood Arboretum where you can go walk around. It's huge. I don't know the exact number of acres, but it's huge. There's Smith Park that's even bigger than that. Here's another thing about Brentwood. City property taxes, they're low. It's 0.29, it's 29 cents per $100 of assessed value here in the city of Brentwood. Now, there's going to be Williamson County tax as well. But the taxes are low. There's no state income tax, right? That was one of the things that we knew coming in, but we didn't really know the impact. Remember, when we first came here, we had no inkling whatsoever that we were going to move here. We were just visiting, like I said, we're at a brother's vacation home up in Kentucky. Let's go down in Nashville. Let's go down in Nashville and see what's going on, And there is a difference between Nashville and Brentwood. There's a difference. We just didn't have a clue, nothing, because we had done no research like I'm trying to tell you. So taxes are cheap. There's no state income tax. That's a good thing. Here's the next thing here's the thing that keeps most people away. Housing is very expensive. I mean, neighborhoods are gorgeous. There's lots of, I'm going to call them executive homes, just because they're super nice and they're executive homes. That's just what they are. When I first got here, I was in awe of the homes, like I was telling you earlier. But real estate is expensive. Like the average real estate, the average home price here and now these days, I think I'm not looking at my numbers. I'm kind of a numbers guy. It's probably 1.4, 1.6, 1.9, close to $2 million. It's a bunch. Brentwood living is expensive. But not all of them are. Understand, that's the median price. But when we bought back in 2005, we got, I don't know, it was a 3,500 square foot house up on a hill with nearly 2 acres, and it was close to 600,000. That was it. That place is worth a couple of million now. But anyway, so that's what I've learned in Brentwood. I'm trying to paint a picture of Brentwood is a great place to be. It is not what I expected. And even when we got back home and started researching, because now we're interested, we want to learn more. When we did our research, it still didn't tell us, and this is why I teach people that are moving here, it really didn't do a good job of telling us what it was actually like when you're visiting in person. Because we started doing the research with interest of coming out here, and the things that we would read is like, that's not even close to what it really is. So if you're thinking about moving this way, understand that paying a visit is going to be part of it. That's important, really important. I can't overstate how important that is, because this isn't a spreadsheet kind of a place. This is an experience kind of a place. So if you'd like to be the first to learn about the changing market in Nashville and Williamson County, hit the subscribe button and tap the bell. We'll see you later. We'll talk to you soon.